Hello everyone. If you're watching this, you missed day one of our week 17 Foundations of Tech lecture. Let's get to it. So very exciting. We're talking about the next natural continuation of our discussion last week about flight and into space. Woo, space. So I'm hoping that you can identify primary technologies associated with spaceflight, research main technologies associated with space travel, and you should be able to extrapolate on where emerging technologies will take spaceflight industry next. So all kinds of interesting things to explore. And primarily, I would very much like you for this unit to steer our conversations yourselves via your research. So it's going to be very important that you complete assignment 21 because we're going to use that to then inform the rest of the class about whatever topic you happen to choose. Of course, most of the surface of the Earth has now been explored, right? Not quite true, but yeah. And men now turn their exploration to outer space as the next objective. Very inspiring words. Of course, propaganda to get Americans behind beating the Russians to the moon. But nevertheless, it got us there, and that's important. And overall, I think humanity has a mission and a vested interest in getting as far from Earth as possible eventually. Here is, of course, Neil Armstrong and his famous step. So let's talk a little bit about the broad strokes of space travel. We're not going to go into detail. Again, I expect you guys to do some research for me, and we'll use that to go into detail. But just talking about some basic ideas that are really important. The slingshot effect is a really, really integral part of space travel. If you guys ever saw The Martian, they have a scene where an intern at NASA is like, oh, what if we use the gravity of the moon to help us? And everyone's like, oh, it's so smart, so weird that you could think of that. In reality, this is so common that space travel as we know it essentially hinges on using this idea. So it's a little silly that they say, oh, he just figured that out. It's how you would have gotten to Mars in the first place. And then, of course, you need to somehow survive space, so you need a suit to be able to do so. You need some kind of way to actually continue eating and excreting your wastes. So these are all interesting things that you guys could research. Keep in mind how vast space is. I'm sure you guys are all aware. I don't need to tell you, but the distances we're talking about are humongous. Many, many, many years to actually get somewhere, even within our neighboring planets. It takes a really, really long time to travel. So when we talk about spaceflight, we need to be thinking long term, right? Very, very long time spent aboard the ships. How do we make that sustainable? How do we bring enough supplies? Perhaps in the future we will have essentially renewable supplies because we will be loading up giant spaceships with plants and animals and everything else we need. Who knows? Now, before we can do that, we of course need some kind of unmanned exploratory vehicles to probes to lead the way, lead the charge, lead the way, and we've done so. So Voyager 1 and 2 have passed outside the solar system, and they've explored quite a bit. There's a video here that kind of demonstrates their trajectory. I highly recommend you check it out. It's very interesting. It shows that gravity slingshot effect, and the precise math necessary to actually get these satellites to go where you need to go. Pretty neat. Over here we have, of course, something you could research could be shuttles. Space shuttles are essential for flight. You could research space stations. You could research space suits. You could research space food. All of these items are really, really interesting. Lots of cutting edge technology. Also, they have inspired a lot of products we see around us today that wouldn't be around without the space application that conceptualized these ideas. So let's take a look at the assignment. Assignment is posted on modules under week 17, right at the top. You need to pick a topic. I have some recommended ones, but you're certainly welcome to pick a different one. Just make sure you run it by me first. I'd like you to find 2 reputable sources on your topic and answer the following questions. Why is this technology important for space exploration? What would happen without it? Could we explore space still, or would it be impossible? How has the technology evolved over time? What was the original shape and where has it gone? Where do you see it going in the future? This is purely speculation, but sometimes there's really interesting articles on, the proposed future steps or speculation on what happens next. So that could be interesting to include. And then last but not least, how has your technology been repurposed in everyday life? And if it hasn't, do you see a potential use in another industry? So take some time to think about that and give me a well thought through answer. That's all I have. If you have any interesting questions or concerns or the assignment is unclear, please make sure you email me. As the year is wrapping up, please, 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 if you have any outstanding work, get it turned in to me so that I can give you a good grade. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later.